Next, we have staff from Rolla Junior High School. They're going to present information about how they are integrating technology into the classroom.
Katie White and Christy Dalton.
Okay.
Hi, Katie.
Good evening. How's everybody doing?
Good.
Hi.
Good.
Christy and I are here to present some of the things that we're doing at the junior high with technology this year. And one of the biggest things we use is My Big Campus, and we're going to try and pull it up over here and take you on a tour through what it looks like. I don't know how many of you have ever been able to get on My Big Campus and see what it looks like from a user point of view.
Working on it.
So we're going to show how we use that in our classroom, and then a couple of the other programs that we use. I teach 8th grade math for people who don't know me. I teach at an accelerated algebra class. I teach a pre-algebra class, which is the on-grade level. And then I teach a basic math class. And in my classroom, I'm very fortunate. I have 14 student computers as well as a teacher computer and a smart board. And I really enjoy that. I also am able to switch rooms with someone else if one of our computer labs is in use and they need a room for student computers. I kind of pick up and switch rooms, and they can come in and use my room if they need to. Lately, that hasn't happened very much, and thanks to the upgrades we've had and the nice computer labs that we have when the addition was put in, has been fabulous. So Christy's going to talk to us a little bit here. And I'm going to turn the microphone off for a minute because we're going to be tied to the computer there.
Just leave. Oh.
Good evening. My name is Christy Dalton, and I teach 8th grade English at the junior high. And in my classroom, I have my teacher computer and my smart board and a CPS unit that I can check out from the department. That's all the technology I have in the classroom, actually. So I am excited as I hear about the news of iPads and laptops being piloted in the other buildings and the possibility of those coming down to our building. I'm like, yes, my room, please. But I find ways to integrate the technology as much as I can for the students because it is so very important. The page that I have pulled up here is my resource page, and this is the page that all parents and students can access from outside. And from this page, they can go anywhere. I've made some links to some of our main units that we use, as well to Study Island, another program that we use in the classroom. They are also, if they click on the resources, I offer to them a plethora of things, resources for them. They've got assignments. Their vocabulary is a big one. The students who are gone or who are industrious and want to study ahead, possibly, they all laugh at me when I suggest that. They have all of their vocabulary up for 7 weeks ahead, and then I try to make sure that I stay several weeks ahead for the students. So if they're sick on a Monday when I hand out the words, then they have the words available to them at home. Or if they get home and they have to work on an assignment with the vocabulary words and they forgot it at school, it's available to them at home, which has been wonderful for a lot of the students. Another aspect that I use with this program is the schoolwork. If it will load. And I have several assignments already built in here, and I'm going to show you guys my test that I will be giving next week from a student point of view. As we enter farther into the 21st century, my daughter is also a freshman in college. I have found that they use online so much nowadays, so much. And she really was not prepared for how to handle assignments and tests online. And that really struck me that we need to start as soon as we can to get the kids ready for this. Not only for college, but the EOCs are done online, and I believe the Common Core standard tests will be done online. So their tests they take next week will be multiple choice, but then at the bottom, they actually have essay questions that they have to answer in a box that I will grade on my own, and then submit their scores to them. So they get immediate feedback, which is wonderful for them. because they need that automatic feedback of what they got right, what they got wrong. And then this allows me the opportunity to type in anything, any comments after they're done with their essay question, of how they could have done better, what was missing out of that. And gives them the experience of answering questions online that will benefit them later on. I also use in my big campus. And what I do is a lot of times I'll take a day in the computer lab so they can have time to work on this, but a lot of times they have to find time on their own. And if they don't have computers at home, then I stay after school 1 day a week to allow them time to work on this, because I realize not every student, if they have a computer, not all of them have access to internet or good internet. They have some still have dial-up, and I know how that is because I live out in the country, and that is just not fun. Discussions. I have my students do discussions. I don't do it as often as I'd like. This is one area that I'm excited with the thought of having laptops or netbooks or iPads in the classroom. We could do these on a regular basis. I have them post a discussion. One, they had to find a poem and copy and paste and then comment on the poem and comment on somebody else's. I had them write a letter at the end of first semester to incoming 8th grade students for next year on how they can survive their first year as an 8th grader. And then they had to comment on someone else's. And I received some really good letters. I had them write it in letter format, which is required of them on MAP testing. And their comments have to be a good comment. If they comment amazing, which there is a comment in there, like amazing or really great, they don't get full points. I'm looking for an actual sentence, they actually read it, and they're commenting on something in that actual letter. So that is just briefly what I use in my big campus. I'll turn my big campus over to Katie.
So for the test, can
Yes.
the student, that's the actual test you're going to give? Can they see that ahead of time?
No, I have it locked out.
If they watch
I'll
television,
be
they
watching
do.
the reruns of this.
I'm certain that none of them are watching Channel 6 at this moment. 16, sorry. My apologies.
Okay.
Ooh.
That's good, you'll throw them off.
Yeah.
Basketball game.
That's
Yeah.
right. I actually have it timed for just a few minutes before class starts to a few minutes after class starts. And each class has a different password they have to type in. And they're random passwords, for me. This time, and I'm not going to, they're words.
Yeah.
I'm not going to say what they are.
What are they,
just in case. The last time they were off of a TV show that we watched, and the kids knew because I talk about the TV show all the time, but they never knew what word it was going to be. So if they've taken the test, they can't tell someone else in another class, oh, hey, here's the password. It's pretty locked up, so they can't see it before they actually take the test. For the students who are absent that day, I do give the paper test because it is a little bit more difficult to have it open it back up. And those with IEPs who struggle with online, I still give them the paper test modified to help them out as well.
Okay.
So I try to be very, very conscientious of those things.
But the vocab words are all out there for the entire.
Vocab words are, as well as the worksheets.
Okay.
So they can actually work ahead if they wanted to. And that's a big
You
if with those
remember
8th
that.
graders.
They could if they wanted to.
That's right. Are there any questions before I pass this off to Katie?
Very nice.
Pretty neat.
And that's just an example of what's going on with the English department. They've done a lot of professional development that Brenda's helped them with through the years. So they're all the English department, the junior high is trying to bring these types of things online as a department for students. I teach math, and a lot of times people are like, what are you going to do with my big campus in math? Well, each of my classes has their own page, and I've taken you to the Accelerated Algebra class resource page. There's several times, a lot of times I like to click here for something, and I'll put like homework answers up there to encourage the students to get online and look at things. So maybe the most difficult problem in the Accelerated Algebra class might be posted up there for them to look at. They can always click on the textbook to get some online resources. And then recently they asked me, where can I get graph paper? Okay, so now they can click on there, download graph paper if they need it.
Look for graph
and,
paper.
and so there's something else I've added at their request. The thing that I use the most is the resources tab. And so I encourage my students, if they are missing an assignment or they've gotten home and they had a worksheet that they couldn't find, just to go into their chapter and look in the chapter and see what's in there. In this particular chapter, chapter 5, you know, there's some worksheets that we've done. And then a practice chapter test with the solutions, not just the answers, but the worked out problems is something that you don't often get in a textbook. And then
Are those things you've made, or are those
yes,
part of
those
the?
are things that I've made. But they are available, you know, I mean, our textbook that we have right now, we're hoping that we're going to, when the Common Core comes on, we'll be adopting a new textbook. And that's one of the things that we're really looking at, is trying to see what resources they have that work with My Big Campus. I mean, that could be the difference between two textbooks that we really, really want. And this one has things that seamlessly go in with My Big Campus. And one of the things we're really looking at is the exam view, because that particular test program, Christy was showing you those quizzes that she had in there. The exam view, you can create your own test from a bank of questions that are given by the textbook. They can be open-ended. You can have the multiple choice. You can have them short answer. And it will seamlessly go right into that schoolwork. So you just pick out the questions and you say, okay, load it into My Big Campus, and that whole test goes in. And it comes out just like you saw with the nice buttons that Christy had. And the students can take tests, or if you just want to see what people were doing, if they understood their assignment, maybe 3 or 4 little quick questions that they could do. Another thing that I'm really big on is doing screencasting. And so that's something I use, Screencast-O-Matic. So if they're in their resources, and I don't know if I'll be able to get it to play on this computer, but some of the chapters, when you're trying to demonstrate something in math, just looking at a bunch of numbers that somebody's written down and how they've solved it isn't exactly the easiest thing. If I make a screencast of something, and I don't know if you guys have ever seen any screencasts. I don't know if it's going to open and play. We'll see. It's doing something. Anyways, a lot of times the worksheets, I'll do a
Today we're gonna talk about the
screencast of it. Here
Pythagorean.
we go. I don't know if it's going to play.
As long as you know the length of 2 of the other sides. This is a right triangle here, and you'll notice that I've labeled each of the sides A, B, and C, and each of these has a special name. The 2 sides that are touched by the right angle side, here's the right angle sign right here, and you'll notice that it touches the A side and the B side. These have special names. They are called legs. So we have leg A and leg B. The side that is labeled C has a name, and it is the hypotenuse. Can you say that? Hypotenuse. C is the hypotenuse. The
That's exactly
hypotenuse
what the
is always
students
the
do.
longest
I always
side
ask
in a
questions,
right
and I'll sit in the
triangle.
classroom,
So
and they'll
given
just be
3
talking
side
to the
lengths, the longest
Say this.
length will always be the hypotenuse. When you have the legs of the hypotenuse, one leg.
All right, then it goes on, and I actually, you know, I take the puzzle apart and show that the A square goes in the B square. If you need to see the end of the movie, it's on My Big Campus. So you can watch it later.
Can't get there, but that's okay.
Anyways,
It does
that's
work, right?
yes.
Little teaser for us.
I needed
Those
that
are
about
one of the
33
things
years
that
ago.
that I try to do. And when I give out my grade book, you know, my grade sheets for the students to look at their assignments, when it says worksheet 11-1, 11-2, that's exactly what I've called it in my grade book, so they can go to My Big Campus and match that exact description to that page or to that screencast to watch how to do those
And
assignments.
anything with the clicker sign is a,
That's correct. Anything that has a little movie start sign there, that's a
great.
that is
video
neat.
that they can
Really
watch.
neat.
And the nice thing is the more that I've been able to have time to screencast each of my lessons, students are absent. Here's your worksheet. Here's a little lesson on it. Students come into my classroom. Again, I'm very fortunate. I have 14 student computers. And I'll take that student that was absent, and they can sit at the back with a set of headphones and learn everything that they missed the day before just watching the screencast, and then I'm there if they have questions afterwards. And honestly, very few of them have questions afterwards. There's one or two small problems that they have, and it's been an awesome tool, and I really appreciate having the technology to do that in our district.
Can they stop and go back and have
They
it
can
start
stop
again?
and go back. They can watch it again and again if they need to. It's great for remediation. I have all of our SPED teachers are people that are on my enrolled in the class so that they can see all of these things too. It's a pretty neat thing. So the other thing we were going to talk about was Study Island. Do you want to say how you use that?
Study Island, I use it in my classroom basically for just studying for quizzes, and every once in a while we will use it for common assessment. All the English teachers have placed our common assessments into Study Island, so we can take the common assessments that way with the clickers, with the e-instruction systems. With English, it gets a little bit more difficult with those common assessments because there are reading components, and sometimes the kids have a hard time reading it on the screen and clicking the button and getting the correct answer. I've done both paper test and on the clicker system, and I found that they did better on the paper test. So I've really just used it as a tool for studying for the test and then assignments. Especially in the spring, I start assigning more, and I find that my test scores in MAP go up because the questions in Study Island are very similar in the way they are formed to the way they are on the map. So they're used to reading these types of questions and answering those types of questions by the time they get to the map test. And we will do them in class. So if they have problems, we can go back right then and there, remediate, go over what they're unsure of, and then move on to the next area. So the English department as a whole has really embraced Study Island and use it a lot. I know the 9th grade teachers use it a lot with the tests. I think Mrs. Burke uses it quite a bit with her tests. So, and then I'll pass this to Katie. She uses it a little bit more than I do.
Well, I don't know if anybody's ever said anything, but the math department really embraced Study Island. We love this program. We appreciate that you pay for it every year, or whoever makes the funding decisions, because our Algebra 1 EOC score is coming out of the junior high. I have to say, really improved after having this. And part of the reason is the way that we implement it in the math department is we use it as a mastery program. So the students, if they do 10 questions and they get 5 wrong, that's a 50%. They have to have a 70% to pass that section. Then they decide, okay, well, we'll do 5 more questions. So they get maybe 3 of those right. Now they've gotten 8 out of 15, still not the 70%. So it continues to accumulate how many questions they've done with how many they've passed until, so not doing very well the first time, not a good idea. So we have all kinds of things. It's been really nice because in here we have Algebra 1 EOC, but if we just go into a grade level in math, we have our Math EOC right now. We also have had the Math Common Core available to us for the last 3 years. So it's been really nice to start bringing on these higher level thinking things. And my co-teacher and I, Mr. Blakely and I, have found that it's been amazing how much of the 8th grade Common Core we already implement because we've seen it here. And we realize, oh, we need to start teaching this. And so that's been extremely helpful. I don't know if you've ever seen any of these questions. I thought that might be a neat thing to go in and look at. One of the things, now that remember this is 8th grade.
Just don't make us take the math test again.
So we're not going to.
We failed
Well,
miserably as a
you missed the whole movie. See, if you saw the movie before, you'd be okay. So you can do practice questions, which is what the students usually do. You can do the classroom response. Those are the clickers. And I usually do that in class as a class. Then the students can answer the question, and we can see how many of them have gotten it right. So I know right then and there, oh, we got to stop and talk about this. Or, okay, they're understanding it, so we can go on to the next thing. So a lot of times when I'll put an assignment up there for them, they can do some practice questions, but I'll try to do something with the clickers first so that they get an idea of what they're supposed to be doing. We can also make printable worksheets, which has been very nice. So the student that's absent can do that, or a student that's not able to access the internet can do their lesson. And the printable worksheet also allows us to create our own tests. And there's another section there where we use this a lot of times to drive some of our common assessments for our school, which has been very, very nice because the questions do mimic the map type questions. And so that we've really appreciated. I was going to try and see if we
All
can
right,
get
let's see if we can pass the test.
some questions coming up here. So there you go. Which of the following is an equivalent expression to that?
2 to the -3 power.
B.
Should we pick B? B's the best
Fair
answer.
down there.
See, and then you get it right. Now, notice that every time you get an explanation too.
Now look at that.
So there's always an explanation. All of these also come with a lesson. So, and then they would just go to the next question and see where your score is showing up here, so
my
you know how
God.
you're doing.
So Katie, if you
Okay,
get the
Craig,
wrong
what's that
answer, it
one?
gives you
Craig,
the
what's that one?
explanation
D.
as well.
It gives you the explanation choice whether it's wrong or right. You
Okay.
can always look at the explanation.
We're going with D.
We're going with D.
Going with D?
Yep.
Let's see. No. There you go. 2 out of 2. That's 100%.
Better stop.
Stick
We
or
have Craig.
stick or go.
That would be A.
So
D
Oh, I'm
again.
sorry.
going with D again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You guys are on this.
Yeah. 3 for 3.
Anyways, I'm all for. We could end this now too.
Yeah, it's
Should we end it now?
It's English.
We're 100%. Let's quit while we're ahead.
Wait, while you're ahead.
That's my forte.
Okay.
We may have a pretty good
That's the
board
math
here.
side
We'll handle
over
the
there.
math down at
I
this
know.
end.
You
That's right.
guys passed the
Jim
EOC.
can
Right
do all
side of
the
the brain and the
engineering
left side of the
stuff.
brain.
I can't handle the math.
To the accounting.
Right, you want to come do some
I'd have to get closer if I was going to
Yeah, that's my problem. I can't
Oh
see
gosh, now the
I can't
pressure's
see
on
the
now.
equations.
We'll pull up the English for Dr. Stratman over there.
Hot seat.
Oh, you
The
don't
the
have to
neat
use-
thing about English is no, do 8th grade English. Please, thank you. The questions are very much the same. They have explanations for each one, and it gives you options on, if you don't get it right the first time, then you have the opportunity to keep trying. And in my class, they have to reach the 70% in order for it to count. So I know my son who's worked with Study Island, I'll see him at home, and he's like, oh, I'm at 55%. Guess you're going to keep on trying. So he doesn't appreciate that when I say that, and I'm not really over there helping him at all. So we will, let's see.
We want to take the pre-test.
Oh, no, let's not take the pre-test. We will use prior knowledge. Smart group here.
Yeah.
One, Greg, we need you to bail us out here.
Okay, so you're given, and this is why it gets difficult if they're doing this as a test in the classroom, because you have to scroll down on some, but it works very nicely if they're on their own. You're reading the directions, and then you have to choose which step would be omitted from the recipe. So this is, what was this again?
Cookies in the graveyard, I think.
Graveyard, ghost in a graveyard with Oreo cookies. That sounds kind of good, actually. So out of those, which one would you take out?
C.
C.
Oh, there's a D. Sorry. My apologies.
I'm just gonna stick with 7.
C?
C.
You are correct. Now, if there were students that did not understand why we would have chosen that, over here on the side are some highlighters. I could highlight certain areas to show exactly what words signal that would not belong, which helps them out. Because they're not picking those key words out that's so important and in being successful. Next question. Well, I would stop. Here's
D.
most likely would be served during
Gotta be D.
Halloween.
Yeah, D.
D.
Halloween.
I saw the pumpkins and stuff.
And still with the same one. Most likely found in what kind of magazine?
Spooky treats.
Trees.
Very good. Very good. So,
Yeah.
and once they, and I always get this question, once they
not
get to a
box
certain
store.
level, they say, can we play games now? If we get to where we're supposed to be, can we play games now? And I usually allow them to play games because to them it's a treat. They don't normally get to play games, and they have to prove that they have mastered what the concept is before they're allowed to move on to that next level. So, do you have any more?
On the games, just so you know, as they play the game, they have to answer a question in order to shoot the cannon or, you know, pop the balloon or whatever it is that they're doing in their game. So they have to answer a question correctly. If they don't, then they don't get to play the game. So it's tied into more learning. It's not necessarily they're just now they can play a game. So there's a
Right.
question involved there. Did you have any other questions for us or?
No, but
great.
it really helped. We've heard Study Island referred to, and it just, I really like the hands-on, letting us see how it's done.
Yeah.
It's great.
We
Very
really
good.
appreciate everything you guys have done as far as bringing technology into our buildings.
Well,
and
we're
we are so
delighted
looking
to see it
forward to.
used. You know, I think that's just great how you all
How
are
much
making
time-
such. Yeah, it's awesome.
I mean, I know it's taken a lot of time for you to transfer all of your lessons, but do the kids just automatically catch on to navigating the page?
Oh,
and-
no, you have to teach them all that,
Uh-huh.
too.
But I
And
mean, how
that's,
much time
that's
is
something
it?
that's important. Well, this year, another thing I didn't really talk about too much, but in math, the calculators, how many of you know every button on your calculator and how to use it? And even just a small one, this year we decided we're going to start teaching how to use the calculators. The same way they have to learn how to navigate these pages and realize that the PDF icon, and you caught on right away, the icon for the, for the video was a different icon, so they know which one to click on and to check that. And navigating that, again, another skill that our students need. I mean, it is user friendly, but it's a different world. And yeah, we do have to
And over
teach them
over
how to use
time,
it.
as this becomes more and more integrated from
Right.
K all the way up,
Right.
that's going to be less and less.
Right.
And the nice thing is a lot of things I already had for my smartboard. And all I had to do was upload it onto this. So it was just a matter of, it takes me, if I'll make something that I'm using, copy it, and when I'm copying it for the student, I'll scan it and put it right up into my big campus. I mean, it just goes that quick. It's really an easy thing. Takes me maybe 5 minutes.
Great.
I
Great.
mean, the old stuff, yeah, but the new things, not so much. Was there any other questions for Christy or myself?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
guys.
you.
Thanks for
very
having
much.
us this
Thank
evening.
you for being here.